What's going on, folks? We're back once again with another one, another review. So, this is the third in the series of the, some people think, classic trilogy of the Three Mothers. Superior, Inferno are the first two. And today, we're going to talk about the third, the Mother of Tears. Now, the Mother of Tears is kind of like different than the two Predator movies. The two Predator movies were more like they weren't really in regular movie format. It'll be like they'll show you a bunch of stuff, not really uh really they'll make you the premise, but not really. As the movie goes on, they really don't explain a lot as of what's happening and why things are happening until like towards the end. Then they give you all this exposition about what's happening, what's going on. They just end up confusing you and making you say, huh? What's that? Mother of Tears is kind of different because it follows a regular movie format, where they tell you the story and it kind of like follows that pattern of, characters. Motivations are more clear, like in the other two movies, why people were doing what they were doing. It wasn't quite clear. The only one who was clear was Mark, the brother of Rose, in the second movie, because his motivation was to find his sister. So that sort of like made sense what he was doing. But anybody else in the movie, it didn't really make sense, why they were motivated to do what they were doing. You know, this one is different. Like the people who get into following trying to stop the Mother of Tears, the motivations are more clear. So it takes place in Rome. We have like a construction crew at a church, and they end up finding this coffin, buried in the ground that no one knew was there, and it had an urn attached to it. The head priest instructed them to bury the casket somewhere else, but allow him to take the urn. And he took the urn and he sent it to one of his someone he thought would be more, I guess, one of his colleagues, to confirm what because he believed it to be something that would cause a lot of problems. But then that begs to ask the question: well, why didn't you just bury it? Because it was buried in the ground for 200 years with no problem. But you want to take it out and unleash it to the world. So anyway, he sends it to the other guy. Uh, the person he sent it to wasn't available. So his assistant and another young lady who worked there, who's the central character, Sarah, played by Asia Argento, the director's daughter, Dario Argento, that's his daughter. She still like plays the leading role. So her and the other lady, whose name was Giselle, they decide to investigate the urn without the head curator. So they open it up. They see a lot of interesting artifacts and something they call a talisman, but to me it looks like a T-shirt, a brand new T-shirt that's been buried for like 200 years with some writing designs on it or something like that. So, oh yeah, this talisman or something like that. So Giselle, she ends up being murdered while Sarah is going to do something else. Sarah comes back and she actually does something that normally most people in these kind of movies don't do. She did something smart. She was able to run and get away. And they start something else in this movie where she seemed to hear voices in her mind that allow her to have powers to do things that she don't understand. So anyway, she talked to the curator. They call the police. She give them the story. Police skeptical on her stories about three monkeys and three hunched over characters committing the murder. So they kind of look at her like she's crazy. Uh, Michael, the curator, who's also a priest, he believes her. And we find out later that's her boyfriend, and also he had a son from a previous relationship. I'm like, okay, what? I guess they begin to be lenient on what priests can do in Rome or something like that. So anyway, he's interested in her, so Michael goes to see the priest who sent it to him. Right, come to find out that priest, he ended up soon after going and having a stroke, going in a coma. Michael talks to another priest, and he said that the father believed it to be an urn that was a wishes urn, with a lot of horrible stuff that was found 200 years ago, and the priest who was assigned to take it to another church for validation or something like that, he ended up getting sick and dying. So long story short, that was what they dug up when they found the coffin. They found that guy with the urn, which I said it before. They should have just left it buried, and none of that stuff would have happened. Now, another difference in this movie, like in the first two movies, they never, especially Superior. Superior was like, okay, it's supposed to be about witches. We didn't hear about that to the end, and maybe like if you watch the movie, maybe one or two things could have been attributed to witchcraft. Every other type of killing, it was killed by somebody. They got stabbed or something like that. So it was nothing magical in those deaths. This one was different because you had the actual mother of tears. They sure putting on the talisman on the t-shirt. And casting a spell, and with that spell, people start breaking in cars, mothers killing their babies, people fighting in the streets, people committing suicide, beating up the police, burning stuff down. All chaos seemed to break out. People started losing their minds. So that they actually showed something that would show, oh, well, wow, these three mothers need to be dealt with. Yeah, this mother of tears is a problem. So once the Michael character returns home, and actually, Sarah finds him, he's depressed. Actually, the mother of tears and her gang, they took his son. They took his son and said, hey, stop investigating this, or you never see your son again, right? So did he listen? No. He decided to go travel to see another father who was some kind of advanced exorcist. He gets in an argument with Sarah, because Sarah, even though all the stuff she's seen, she still act like she don't want to believe what's happening. And by the way, Asia Argento. I don't want to say she's a horrible actress, but wow. It's like if your father wasn't directing, you definitely wouldn't get that part. 'Cause she seemed to just say her lines, just always just say them, don't deliver really the right emotion. When she try to have emotion, she just sound like she just irritated and cranking with people when she say her lines. But yeah, she just usually just says the lines, and yeah, below average actress. You know, but she can run, and she looks fairly attractive and stuff like that. So with that part, they did good, but the actual acting, not very good. So anyway, he travels to go see this other individual. Sarah stays behind, doing her research. She gets a call from Michael asking her for help because he noticed that a couple of people who he seen when he was leaving the church were following him. So another phenomenon that's happening that is that all the witches around the world are coming to Rome to celebrate with the Mother of Tears, where all this chaos is happening. So he doesn't really he asks for help, but he doesn't really finish. Phone kind of cuts off. She couldn't get in contact with him. She decides to go seek him out, to follow him to see that other priest. She goes into a train station. She runs into some witches who see her, like they know her, and they, start following her. But at the same time, the police officers are following her because she's the lone witness to that murder at the museum. So she's able to elude the police in a bookstore because, somehow the voice in her mind tells her that she can become invisible. So she becomes invisible and they can't find her. So she, after encounter a witch who she kills by repeatedly slamming her head with the door to a cabin in the train. She successfully gets to the train, goes to see the father. Turns out she meets a lady there who knows her mother, and she informs her that her mother was actually a witch, who actually a good witch, a white witch, as she tells her, who battled the mother of signs. The one who was who did absolutely nothing but snore and laugh like a maniac in the Superior movie. That she tangled with her, weakened her, but didn't kill her. But anyway, make a long story short, that witch supposedly killed her mother and her father. But the lady informed her that, hey, you got your mother's gifts. Sarah like, what are you talking about or whatever. So, she said, go the whole rag about, yeah, I'll help you find the gift. So anyway, the father comes out and explains that, hey, yeah, I got a call from your friend, and he just gave, more information about what was going on. That, hey, pretty much they're gonna usher in what's called the new age of the witches. And he said, oh, I have another book. Like in all these movies, whenever somebody say, yeah, I know about this, and they don't tell them right then and there, they say, hey, I'm going to go get this, or they'll tell you later. They always die. And that's what happened to him. He ended up getting killed because his assistant fell under the Mother of Tears spell. And, just pretty much chopped him up and slit her own throat. Martha, the lady who knew Sarah's mother, they get out. Sarah decides to go back home, but she finds that her house, of course, is invaded by demons, so she goes to stay with Martha. Martha, come to find out, even though she worked at a church. You know, she had a little girlfriend and they showed them getting it on. Yeah, another thing about this movie, they have like many more sex scenes um, in here than the other two. And so the mother of tears, you know, sends one of her henchmen to find him and kill him. He was looking for Sarah. Sarah, one good thing about Sarah, whenever something happening, she notices and she gets out of Dodge. So she left. She tried to call him and tell him, hey, somebody in the house. What ended up happening is the killer who was sent to kill her. By her calling, it allowed him to find what room Martha and her girlfriend was at, and he pretty much killed her. Mother of Tears came in a cloak, like, hey, where's Sarah? One thing about the Mother of Tears, you got to realize that she's always naked, wearing a cloak, naked. You know, maybe she have on shoes, maybe she don't, but she's always naked, nearly in every scene they show her. And they picked a very attractive lady to play the Mother of Tears because she's supposed to be the most attractive and the most deadly. From the three movies, she definitely was. So anyway, before Martha died, again we have that thing to where she was supposed to take her to go see some guy, another priest who can help her with her powers. She didn't do it. She died. Sarah remembers she went to go see him. But before he agreed to help her, he had to, run her through some tests to make sure she was who she said she was. Which at the end of the day, he was like, hey. She was like, hey, can you help me? I got these powers. He was like, yeah, you got the powers yesterday, but you're dealing with somebody who's been doing what they've been doing for 1,000 years. How do you think you're going to match up? She like, well, there's other people who can help. He said, really not many other people who can help. She was like, can you help? Well, I can just give you information. So, of course, he takes her and gives her a book. And it's the Three Mothers book that was so prominent. It was killing people for, even though you can just find it in every bookstore and every library around. But in this one, at least they just had it in one particular priest, his collection of books. And so again, with the Mother of Tears book, they read one page, and she read one page and got some kind of silly riddle or something, and that was it. He really couldn't offer any help. You just might as well say, I'm just an old man in a wheelchair. What can I do? So anyway, she was able to find the third house, and underneath the house is where the Mother of Tears and her cronies were at. She came to a wall, and actually one of the police officers tracked her down. He'd been following her again for some reason, so him and her going into there in the catacombs. He ended up being captured and taken away. She finds her way into the ceremony they're having. They see her, the Mother of Tears. Oh, I've been waiting for you, Sarah. All that sort of thing. And, she danced, moving around all seductively, all naked. She puts on a t-shirt. And, with all this stuff about Sarah having powers, right? You would think, okay, well, something's going to happen to where her powers is going to kick in, right? Right. You thinking in that scene that was going to happen. But what happens? She takes I guess a spear and tears off the t-shirt of the talisman of the Mother of Tears, and Mother of Tears act like she don't know what to do. You just standing, oh, you took my shirt. But when all these movies when something happen, it seemed to just start an automatic earthquake. Everything started falling apart. Uh, Mother of Tears, again, she could have left at that point, but she just standing up there, just, the talisman, because apparently the talisman was the key to the power. Was her power, because her power was weakened without that. But they kind of didn't really make that clear, because they was emphasizing, your powers, you got powers to battle her. Well, if the talisman was the key, the last priest she seen could have just said, hey, if you can destroy the talisman, then you can destroy the Mother of Tears. That would have made more sense to say that, because now it's like, okay, well, she just assume, if I take the t-shirt off of her and burn it, that's the end. But like in some of these movies, magical products or things that are magical usually can't be destroyed by fire. But I guess within this one is different, which don't make sense, because you got this shirt that looks like it's brand new, that's been buried underground for like 200 years, right? So anyway, during the earthquakes, something falls over and ends up impaling the Mother of Tears. That's how she gets killed. And Sarah and the policeman, they drag their way through a bunch of slime with a bunch of dead human carcasses in it, and they get out and they start laughing. End of the movie. This one was pretty good, because like I said, you can kind of follow it as a story. It did have its issues. Some of the dialogue wasn't good. Asia Argento really wasn't a good enough actress to be in the leading role. The ending was kind of, it was kind of lackluster. Because, I mean, if you want to make these beings all powerful, make it harder to kill them. It's like almost the first woman, maybe I'll talk about all of them together in another video. I say this one is you can kind of, it's more logically written and follows a more logical pattern as a movie than the first two. The first two, what they had over this one, the cinematography was better, the look of it was better. When they had camera angles, more interesting camera angles. But as far as that, as far as a movie goes, for just the somebody who want to see a movie, this one's better as far as that goes. So until next time, peace.